What is up, DMV basketball fans? Welcome into another Believe in DMV Hoops. I'm Matt Modderno. I'm joined here today by American guard Wyatt Nausadis. Wyatt, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So just wanted to really catch up with you. It's a pretty exciting year one, I would think, in college basketball. I think guys work, their entire basketball careers, like some of your veteran teammates there to get to the NCAA tournament. And
Absolutely.
you got to do it in year one. So I guess just from your experience, how was the first year?
It was awesome. I think in my recruitment process, something that was attractive to me was the fact that this is a possibility in year one. And I kind of I know Coach Bollinger met with me when he was recruiting me and laid out the roster to me. And he's like, in year one, like, we're going to be old and we have a good chance at winning the Patriot League in your first year. And that right away was something that was awesome. Okay, I could go to a March Madness and win a title in my first year of college basketball. That's something that I knew I wanted to be a part of. And I also think that would set the standard for what the rest of my college career would look like and kind of see what winning would look like. So that was kind of my thought process in coming to America. And then obviously we did it, kind of what was pitched to me, which was awesome. And to be a part of it was just so special. And to be able to learn from those seniors in front of me was awesome.
I want to step through all parts of this as we keep going here. Just for anybody listening to this that hasn't seen you play. So averaged 3-1-1 this year in about 11 minutes per game. But I thought you had a lot more impact than that because there were a lot of moments where you guys didn't have the full complement of those veteran guards available. And you had to step in and do a lot of the handling duties. And you, Lincoln, guys stepped up and, they were expecting to be, breaking presses and things like that as much as you guys had to. So I guess what was that like? Did you expect to play these kind of meaningful minutes in year one? And I don't know, any kind of nerves getting out there the first couple of times in big minutes?
I didn't know what to expect when I was coming to American in my first year, because I knew how much talent we had and how old everyone was. And that's kind of what college basketball has turned to, is just age. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew I would get to learn a lot and have a chance. I knew I'd have a chance to be on the floor. So I worked as hard as I could to be on the floor, and I think I had some opportunities. A couple of things that come right to mind is the GW game. Eli broke his nose, and we needed a point guard. So I got to come in and play, and I think that was a small turning point for me, because at the time I had pretty much no confidence, if I'm being honest. I didn't want to be on the floor, and I didn't know how to play college basketball yet. And then Jeff gets healthy and to start Patriot League play and then goes down against Navy. And now we don't have another guard, and I kind of had to step up again. So I think those are two turning points that stick out to me and how I kind of got the opportunity to play. And then for me, it was just, as the year went on, building confidence. The coaches consistently preached to me, when the new year hits and we start conference play, you're no longer a freshman, you're a sophomore. And I think they always said that, and I didn't really know what it meant. And then when that time came, finally, I wanted to be in the game, and I wanted to go check in, and I wanted to be on the court. Whereas to kind of start the year in non-conference play, I was kind of fine with being on that bench, just because I didn't feel like I was helping the team, and two, I just didn't have much confidence. So
I think that's a good way to learn sometimes too, is just see other guys kind of feel the game out a little bit, get adjusted to the speed just by seeing it in front of you close up. And then, once you're ready to go out there, you're a little more, accustomed to what to look forward to. And
for sure.
You mentioned the no confidence portion. Was there somebody on the team, you mentioned the coaches there, but any of your teammates that were particular kind of in your ear of, hey, this happens to us, we all went through this, who was kind of walking you through some of what to expect there?
Everyone in a way. I think two names that stick out to me right away are Matt Rogers and Lincoln, because those were our captains, those are our leaders. And both of them would consistently have talks with me your time is coming, you're here for a reason, we know how good you are, now just go do it in the games. And it was much more than that, but that's kind of it in a short answer. Is they were simply saying listen, we were all freshmen before. We had our struggles, and now we're here. And as soon as you can figure out how to play with confidence and learn that you belong on the court, the game will slow down and you'll be who you got recruited to be. So that helped a lot. And then also, the coaching staff was huge. Eventually, they knew that I was struggling with confidence, especially in the non-conference play, and I would simply just meet with them. And it was always constructive criticism and positivity. And that helped me a ton, was because at the time I was someone who needed to have positive thoughts because I'm so hard on myself. So for them to be able to sit in there and say, listen, we're not mad at you. We just want you to play basketball and have fun. And for me to be able to kind of hear that and then start within practice, and slowly it started to translate as the year went on. I started to have fun playing out there and kind of felt a little bit more free. So
I asked Greg one time what he thinks about when he walks up to the free throw line and how he's such a good free throw shooter. And he said he thinks about nothing. Yeah. And to me, that's like an unbelievable superpower, because
I couldn't agree more.
I don't know how someone does that. So what you were saying, I felt, very deeply from my end too. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. I think anybody who saw you play down the stretch here would not know that you had struggled with some confidence, earlier in the year, which was great to see. You hit a couple big shots in this postseason run too. One particular step back three, comes to mind, and that was a swaggy shot. Like it was an ultimate confidence move, and that was awesome. It felt like you had turned the corner there. And I guess is that I don't know, is that more of the Wyatt we should expect to see in future years here, of somebody that's got that little flashiness to him?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that's some of my game. Now, I also want to preface that with, I think some of those shots might not always be the best shots. So there won't be a ton of bad shots, hopefully. But yes, I think that's kind of who I am as someone who plays with some of that swag, and I think confidence is a big part of my game and makes me who I am. I mean, as well as every other basketball player out there. So I kind of rely on that. Oops, there we go. Lights turned off in here. So I think as far as expectations go, that's something that you can kind of look forward to, as well as just a bigger role, hopefully on the ball and just being on the floor more, being someone who can facilitate and learn to facilitate, because that's something that I didn't get to do as much of this year, because in my opinion, we have the best point guard in the league. So obviously, hopefully there's a bigger role there, and that's something you can expect to see as well.
That's one of the next things I wanted to ask you about. So perfect segue here is, do you like being more of a 1, more of a 2, a little bit of both, depending on the situation? What's the ideal role for you in your mind?
Yeah, so I like both. I think both fit me, because I think I have the ability to be off the ball and someone who's maybe shooting it more and scoring more. But in high school, I always had the ball in my hands because I played at a small high school, and I kind of learned to be a facilitator and a point guard. And that was something that I really enjoyed. When I did my prep year last year, I was more off the ball, so I kind of learned to play both. And so I'm happy at both. But as far as my recruitment process went with American, they were one of the schools that really emphasized that I could be a point guard and play on the ball in college. And that was something that was attractive to me, just to have maybe that option to either be a point guard or play off the ball and kind of switch back and forth. Whereas some other schools primarily saw me at the 2. And I think American would pitch that I could be a point guard and off the ball, and that was something that was really attractive to me.
I think we definitely got to see like moments of it this year, right? Like, that was a really good high level read, full court, like cross court pass in traffic. Like not everybody's making some of these passes, so that's exciting. And then looking at next year's team, I think that flexibility or that versatility is going to be huge for this coaching staff too. Definitely. Like you play next to Jeff, like you can set him up a little bit more, or some of the freshmen coming in potentially. Maybe you need to be a little bit more of a scorer with them as they kind of handle some of the facilitation duties. So that's huge. Just the confidence thing, going back to that for a second. Was any of this like, I don't know, was the level of competition what you expected? Like you guys had a pretty tough non-conference schedule. I can imagine, going and play in North Carolina or Virginia or whoever, it might have been a little overwhelming to just kind of get that right out of the gate. So I don't know, but did that factor in at all, I guess?
It did. I think I come to realize now that every situation was smaller than I made it. I kind of was like almost like a fan in the first like 10 games, which is such a weird way to describe it. But I was sitting on the bench like, no way I'm playing in this game. I remember our first game at LaSalle, I literally was just like warming up and I was numb. I could not believe I was playing a college basketball game, which was also a cool experience. So I think it was different. But at the same time, like in my prep school league, I played hundreds of high major recruits and basketball, like Division I basketball players. So I had an idea of what the talent looked like, but college basketball is just played at a different speed. And there's so much more on the mental side that goes into it. Not even talking about confidence, just like knowing scouts, knowing plays, what reads to make. There's a lot more that goes into college basketball, which I think I struggled with in the beginning as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I got for that.
think it's like one of those things where you've studied really hard for the test, and then you get there on test day, and like all of it just sort of leaves your brain when you see all the people, butts and seats, and lights and music are going and all that kind of stuff.
That's a great way to put it. I was always one who like said, trust your work, believe in your work. And I worked my butt off. And then I got here and it's like, did I? Is it working for a little bit? So yeah, that was something I had to deal with a little bit in the beginning.
I think that's great that you got to play some big minutes in crucial spots down the stretch here, because I think that's a great way to get that momentum going into year two. And Greg and I did basically this same podcast at this time last year, and he got to play a lot down the stretch. And I think that was something that he said was just sort of getting some of those minutes when guys got injured and things like that. It kind of allowed him to kind of hit the ground running in year two. So I'm glad you got that experience.
Me too.
What's the best piece of advice you got this year, and who did it come from?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I think consistently it probably came from Coach Jack. And I don't know if it was one thing, but he was just big on showing up. And we do this thing every day. And if any of our players are watching, they'll laugh at this, but we shot free throws. And every time we missed a free throw, he just looked at us and just said, just do your job. And I mean, like, that was something that I kind of thought about, and everything I started doing after that was like, I don't need to care if I missed or made a shot or if I messed something up. I like just go out, play, and do your job, and everything else will kind of take care of this of itself. So that was kind of something that helped me throughout the second half of the season, was go in the game, don't try to do anything other than play defense and be in the right spots on offense, and everything else will come. So it's so simple, but if I consistently just thought, like, if you just do your job, I mean, really the rest does come for the most part. So
I think sometimes like the more simple ones like that are the ones that cut the deepest and sort of last the longest with you. Of like, that's a thing that'll just keep popping into your mind for probably each of the next 30 years here, I would imagine, if not beyond that.
Yeah.
All right. So like I said, you guys had a bunch of veteran guys and senior guys, especially, in the guard position, and Elijah and Colin, a fourth year and a fifth year player. Obviously, Jeff's played a lot of college basketball as a junior here too. Was there any particular thing you picked up from each of those guys just by watching them kind of go about their business?
Yeah. I mean, I think the person that I learned from the most was probably Eli, because that's who I was playing behind the most. Sure. And just kind of how he approaches the offense and practice and the reads he makes, because I think where I lack the most right now is probably what he was best at, and that was just playmaking and reading defenses and stuff like that. So I think I was able to watch him every day and how he works and how he comes off ball screens and what reads he's making. And he really knew our offense. Like, you could just tell, like, it came very easily to him. So kind of just be able to spectate that and then come in and replicate it as best as I could, and obviously make tweaks that related more to me. I mean, he was 5'9" and the fastest dude I've ever met, and I'm not 5'9". So I had to change some things in how he operates and kind of make it work for me. So he was probably someone that I watched the most and watched a ton of film of him throughout the season. I would sit down with Nate and he would just show me clips of Eli and the reads that he's making, and that would help me a lot. Colin and Jeff both were awesome, and I think Colin was someone who helped me too on the confidence side of things, whether he knows it or not. He was someone who always played with a ton of confidence. And he was a very good vocal leader in practice, and those were kind of some things that I was able to pick up on and kind of learn from him on, is just how to be a leader and how to approach every game. Like if every time you looked at Colin, his face was always the same, and that was kind of something that, like, we could be down 20 and his face would be straight. Like, you would know he's going to go and play the same as if we were up 20 or down 20. So I think that was something to take away from him. And now I've been working out with Jeff a ton. So just to be able in the off season to learn from him and kind of work side by side with him, I think has been awesome. And that'll be fun to play with him next year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I want to see that combo. I just want that guy to be healthy for a full year. He deserves it. And
he does. He really does.
It's time for him to get that. So I'm imagining you're guarding Eli a lot in practice.
Yes.
I got to imagine that once you get to a game, it's, like, honestly, like, kind of easier than practice has probably been all week.
Yeah, it absolutely was. In the beginning of the year, I hated it. I hated it when I first started practice. And the coaches loved it. They're like, this is going to make you so good. And I mean, I kind of agreed with them, but he would pick me up full court. I remember it was like preseason practices, and I was coming in like not knowing what to expect. I was like, maybe I can earn a ton of playing time, whatever. And I remember it was like the first week we started playing 5-on-5 full court, and he'd pick me up full court. And I think I was so exhausted and out of shape. I think he picked me like 3 times, picked me up full court, took it from me, and got a layup on the other end. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a long year. And towards the end of the year, I got the hang of it a little bit, but I mean, still there'd be some days in that last couple of weeks of practice where he would just have me completely in the dust. And I think that it's just kudos to him, because he's a really good point guard, and he's so quick. I don't know how anyone will be able to consistently stay in front of him.
Yeah, when someone's like turned you around a couple times, by the time you get to just your own 3-point line, that's a pretty long day you're in for. But moving forward, like you're not going to get that kind of ball pressure all that often. So if you can get past that, you're going to be ready for anybody next year. So
for sure,
that's great.
For sure.
You guys have a loaded freshman class coming in here from what I've seen. You know, looks deep, and I think you need that. And yeah, one of the things I'm already kind of telling people that ask me about you guys for next year's, you know, like obviously last year you had a ton of veteran guys, but don't expect like this crazy drop off, because I think you guys, you like yourself and Julian and Eric, you have, you know, freshman guys that are basically, you got 2 full seasons worth of experience in this first year, and then you know, a lot of key returners back in Jeff and Greg and Matt. So I'm expecting you guys to be really strong in the Patriot League here. Again, I guess you probably know more about these freshmen than I do, though. Anybody you're familiar with coming in, and do you know any of these guys, or what do you expect?
So I actually know Carson McDonald, who is the last commit out of the 6. He's from the Newman School where I played my prep year last year. Okay. Really, really athletic, big forward, really good defender. We played him a ton, and he would literally guard their other team's point guard at times. Just he's quick and has a ton of length, and he can guard the 5 as well. So I loved playing with him. He's a really good kid. I mean, everyone that Coach Simp brought in was high character guys. So that applies to all of them. And then I've gotten to know all of them pretty well. I think the only one that I've only met once was Chris Egan. He visited once, and then the rest of the guys have been up here a couple times, been to our games. So I've got to know a lot of them. And it looks like it's going to be a good class. So I'm excited to play with them. Hopefully we can get them up to speed as fast as possible, because we're going to need as many of them as we can get.
You're one of the veteran guys here now, stepping into that role for next year. So is there a piece of advice that you're going to kind of share with those guys that was, you know, helpful for you, like the things we talked about already?
I think something that I made sure was that my body was right, and I put on weight, and then I ended up having to cut weight. I got too heavy. But having that ability to use my size and be strong this year was helpful, because I'm not the quickest guard. So to be able to back it up with me having a good frame on me was nice. And then on the other side of things, I think like just being able to shoot it consistently in the college level is really important. That was something that I struggled with a little bit this year. But be in the gym and just get shots up, I think, is so important, because that'll get you on the floor. If you can defend, which kind of goes along with having your body right, being agile and having a good frame, and then being able to make shots, I think anyone can get on the floor at the college level. So I think that's important. And then kind of what we've already talked about 100 times is just find a way to have confidence. That was probably the thing that I struggled with in the first half of the season, and even towards the end of the season. It's something I'm still working on. Just being able to go out there and trust yourself and know that you belong, and play free, I think, is the most important thing. And obviously I don't think you can come in with that. That's something that you learn a little bit. But if you have a way to get your mind right before games or before practices and know that you belong, I think that's really what's most important.
You can just kind of tell in warm-ups, I think, looking around, like who can shoot and who can't. And sometimes that doesn't always translate. But for the most part, I think guys watching up basketball know what's up. And you're one of those guys I see make a high percentage of shots getting ready for these games. Didn't shoot the percentage, you know, overall you'd want to this year. I would imagine you're also kind of a rhythm player, and you weren't getting a ton of opportunities. But
definitely,
you know, what's the thing that you think will help you next year be able to show, you know, the real Wyatt as a shooter?
I think it's a ton of things. I think as a shooter, it's just going to be a ton of reps. I'm going to look to tweak my shot a little bit. I kind of push off with my right hand a little bit as I'm finishing my shot, which is something that I'm looking to tweak. But other than that, it's just going to be a ton of reps. And then kind of the first half of the year, I didn't really get good rhythm because I didn't want to shoot the ball. So when I did shoot it, I was just kind of getting out of my hands. And towards the end of the year, I started to feel a lot more comfortable. I think in Patriot League play, I shot a little bit of a better percentage. So I think just trusting that and then having more confidence in rhythm, like you kind of said, is going to be really important for me. But other than that, I mean, we've been in the gym every day, a group of guys getting shots up. And so if I can get a ton of reps up and keep doing that, I think as a shooter, I'll be much more prepared for my second year.
I like doing these with a guy. I think on the team, it's going to make a big jump and maybe potentially surprise people with how big a step they take forward next year. And I think you're going to be that guy for this team. So not to put any ancillary pressure on you, but like I said, you could just kind of feel that there's more there. So I'm excited to see you do it. I know you're putting in a lot of work, so I'm looking forward to that paying off for you too. I just got a couple quick, lighter, rapid fire ones to close you out here, and then we'll let you get back to your evening. So what are you studying in school?
As of right now, I'm in business administration, and I think I'm going to stay in that.
Nice.
So that's what I'm studying. I'm enjoying it. Dave Marchik, the dean of the business school, has a very good relationship with the basketball team. So I know I want to be in the business school. He's a good guy that's kind of mentored all of us and does a lot of great things for everyone on the team. So as of right now, I think I'm going to stay in business administration and look for something to minor in.
Yeah, he's like the unsung hero of the program here. The guy's everywhere.
I'm sure you've heard a lot about him.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to him. And you can't go wrong with that business school's degree next to your name when you finish up here. So that's a good call. What are you doing for fun off the court? What's filling the hours when you're not in the gym?
On campus, not a ton. And I also haven't learned that yet because basketball occupied my time.
So busy all year, right?
The year. So not a ton. A little bit of video games, hanging out with teammates, watching basketball when I'm not playing it. At home, I love to do a ton of hiking. I live in a beach town, so I'll go to the beach. Used to I walk my dog every day in the summer. So that's kind of some hobbies I have when I'm home. Hopefully I can learn to maybe translate some of those here, maybe not the beach, but find some places to hike and stuff like that. That's some other stuff that I enjoy doing outside of basketball.
There's some stuff in the area. You could find some mountains or some good trails relatively close by, so that's worthwhile. Are you going home for the summer? Is that part of the plan? Are you going to spend some amount of time with the family and stuff like that?
I am. I'm going to go home for a month from like the end of May to June. I'm actually going on a service trip to Guatemala right when school ends. So after that, I'll be home for about a month, and then we'll be back here for the summer session. And then I'm planning on going home for about a week and a half before we have to be back here for preseason. So yeah, I'll get some time home, which will be really nice.
Well, shout out to you for doing nice things for other people. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Favorite basketball movie?
Ooh, Like Mike or Hoosiers. Those are both up there. Probably Hoosiers is number one, but Like Mike is close second.
Gotcha. I'm a little too old for the Like Mike generation, so I missed that in its heyday. But you're a good deal younger than me, so I would imagine that was probably big when you were coming up.
It was.
All right. Which of your teammates should we have on the show next?
Oh man. I think I don't know if you've had him on before, but Matt Mayock might be a good person to have on. He's someone who's fun to talk to.
Okay. Matt, everybody always says Matt is sneaky funny, so
he is sneaky funny. That's kind of why I said that, because he doesn't. If you meet him once, I don't think he'll come off as that. But once you get to know him, he's really fun to talk to. And then I also got to say, I mean, my roommate Julian, he's someone who might not have had the biggest role this year, but I think he's someone who will really shock people next year, and I think he might be someone who people are going to want to know more about.
Yeah, two great ones. I got to get Jeff on here too. We have not made that happen
Jeff's
yet.
Got to be on here.
I was going to try to get that after the tournament because he had such a good game, but it was such a tough way to end the season there. I figured I'd give everybody a little mental break here before dragging him out here. But yeah, Julian's a great one too, and another guy I think, going to have to fill that role in the front court here a little bit, and I think he's going to be ready to do it. Any social media accounts here for people to follow along?
Yeah, it's just my name on Instagram, Wyatt Nausadis. WYATTNAUSADIS. Same thing on Twitter.
Awesome. Very easy. Wyatt, thank you, man. Appreciate this. I'm looking forward to next year. Congratulations on a great year one, and hopefully the first of many NCAA tournaments here in your future.
That's the plan. Thank you, Matt.
All right. Have a good summer. All right, everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know the drill. Rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff. Click the like button for us. Tell a friend, and we will catch y'all next time.